Hello and welcome. As it's 1:13 in the morning, and it's now the 23rd day of October 2019. This is a football video. I'm going to talk a little bit about Theta. I've been thinking for the last couple of hours. This is looking November 30th, like time-wise, especially too. Especially now that's 1:14. So I don't know how long I'm going to stay up for, but if this thing has a big pump, I got 2-3% of my Theta on the exchange, and if this thing goes up to like big moves, I'm going to stay up for it. Anyway, while I'm waiting for whatever to happen, I have been doing some research, more research on a very significant size wager that I put in, and well, if the market comes up here, and you know what, even at that, I could probably. I mean, I really think if it's going to go break it, it can go up to here. So I'm going to get myself an alert for that if it happens, and even higher than that. But anyway, let's get on with it. Browns and Patriots this Sunday for something in the afternoon, 4:30. We'll say 4:20. I'm huge on New England. I think that spread should be 22 or 23 even. I mean, that's almost college football like, but I mean, we're going to get to the defense of New England. It's nothing really to do with the offense at all, which is like Tom Brady and Sony Michel and all those greats. As long as they can move, like, don't screw things up if you look at it that way. That is, and then you know what? They're doing better than average. Tom Brady's effectively moving the ball, and I mean Bill Belichick. I mean this coaching matchup. Oh, it's like like the top against the bottom end coach, and all the Patriots do is keep on destroying bottom end offenses and teams. And well, to me, Cleveland is on that list of a bottom end team. At least that. I mean Baker Mayfield and company. Yay! Let's dive into the statistics. These are numbers from Football Reference. And well, Cleveland's got the 17th best defense in here, but Patriots are number one. They have allowed 48 points in 7 games. San Francisco's done 64 and 6, Buffalo 91 and 6, and the ones below it. But we're looking at the Patriots here. And this play is totally on the Patriots defense and who they're playing against, knowing that the offense of New England is better than fine. So continue on. 1,562 yards, equating to only 4 yards a play. San Francisco's at 4.2. They've also played bottom end trash. Well, same Buffalo too, but and I still want to wait for New England to play a couple, two, three top teams, offenses, before I can really make case for these sick ass stats. But as we continue on further, 22 turnovers for them via the fumble in 7 games. They are averaging over 3 takeaways per game through 7 games. They have allowed 88 first downs, a little over uh, 12 a game. We got teams in here allowing 142 in 7 games. I mean, the differential is huge. San Francisco, I mean, they're pretty dominant too. They had a less game though, but they're in there as well. And then we can see here completion attempts. They've quarterbacks have went 123 of 242. Simple math. What's 123 times 2? That's 246. That means they're barely over 50% completing passes in a day and age where you should be noticeably more than 60. 1,039 total yards in 7 games. 250 yards you expect is like that. Okay, come on, get over that number, please. If you're just doing like 220, 200, that's pretty sad. But you're pretty good. If you can do like 140, 150, 160, well, this is like 140. I mean, this is just beyond sick. But what's even sicker is the touchdown to interception ratio. One touchdown passing and 18 interceptions. This is almost getting to Ryan Leaf territory. He wasn't even that bad, 1 of 18. That is, I mean, terrible. 3.9 per attempt. First downs, they have allowed 50 first downs in the air and 88 total. Rushing the ball, They've only allowed 22 yards or 22 first downs rushing the ball. What's not magnificent is, and it's good though, is a where's the rush average? Okay, 4.2. 4.2 net average on running the ball. That's better than average. With average being probably closer to 4.5 or 6, 4, 4, 5. Anyway, that's nothing. I mean, it's good, but this is like the worst stat. So the only real major thing that scares me, or the only advantage that I could get, is that it's not the. I mean, Nick Chubb may be able to get a few runs in against him, but I mean, this situation that Cleveland has to go up against, well, it is what it is. Now on covers, they will oftentimes give you free picks. Now what I do like about this is they give you analysis because then do your own due diligence. If anyone ever said, "Oh, verify the numbers," which I verified one of them, which is on the Patriots' favor. But let's go over what Mr. Will Rogers has to say. I do expect more for a free pick, though. I really do. And I'm going to say a lot of stuff in my rookie days of handicapping that you totally missed up on, which is what I corrected you on. All right. The setup, do or die question mark. Or never. Setup, do or die. No, now or never. Thankfully, the Browns, even if they lose this game, they still have a mathematical shot at taking out division leader Baltimore. That said, I think this one sets up well for the Browns on a number of different levels. And while I'll stop short in calling for the upset, I do definitely think that this stage is set up more of a competitive battle than what the spread would suggest. Okay, we're gonna stop it there. We're gonna go through different more. First of all, if you have a definitely think, that means you're extremely strong on something, then it probably shouldn't be a free 1 star play. I'm expecting you to have like maybe your sixth best player. You're going to give 5 people to your people that pay X amount for your package, whatever. So whatever didn't make the cutoff is your free pick. So you're not as strong as others. See, I'm on the definitely strong side on the other part, which is why I'm making a larger size wager. And the only wager I'm making this weekend on NFL. But even for more, well, let's just go to the reasons why, because that's what I'm going to counter. The stage is set for a more competitive battle than what the spread would suggest. First off, the Browns truly are desperate for a win here. Well, I got two arguments for it. Are they? Because I'm looking at the way Baker Mayfield is going. I don't know what's going up with them. They don't seem as if that team has got any type of real, what word I want to use, mojo or whatever word it is. I don't see that in them. And maybe they do it, but even if you are desperate, that doesn't mean you're going to go and get the job done. Let's continue on further. They also come off the bye week, but the Patriots are undefeated. But they enter off the short week because they played Monday after destroying the Jets on Monday night. And I really didn't think that about 20, 30 minutes after the game was over when I made the wager. Yes, I did. I mean, this is again why I'm like, really. I mean, I know you're a veteran. You've been around for a while, and on my like first month of getting serious into handicapping, one of the first five. I'm looking at systems and like different situations when they occur. What the result is. One of the first 3, 4, 5, 6 obvious ones was, oh, how about teams off of Monday night? And then after researching, I'm like, man, you know what? No, not really. Teams seem to always fare well. I mean, I don't see no. They're like 50% of the time they cover after Monday nights. It's whatever. But let me just put this into. This is Bill Belichick after Monday Night Football. And this is the game that was the Monday night game. And this is the following Sunday. So last year they defeated Buffalo as a 13.5 point favorite, and they covered and beat the Green Bay Packers. The year before that, after losing to Miami as a big favorite, they end up going to Pittsburgh, barely covering. But this is a spot where you always want to get that 2.5 number, and you can see why on here. And they covered the spread. The year before that, against Baltimore, they beat them. and then they go into Denver and they cover a 2.5 point spread. Year before that, after beating Buffalo, they go to Denver and they fail to cover a 2.5 point spread. So three 2.5 point spreads in a row, and even four was the underdog the week after. And this one here was weird. 2014, Kansas City minus 41 to 14, they lose, and then they destroy KC. But how in the world was Tom? And I checked the box score. Did Tom Brady even start? Yeah, he did. And how in the world was Cincinnati a 2.5 point road favorite in New England? That just doesn't make any sense. I don't know what was down with that. Huh. Did they give Cincinnati 10 points to start to spot him? Well, I know that's not the case, but I mean, yeah, I thought that was very interesting. But we can see here, right off the bat, Tom Brady has covered five of his last 6 games, including his last 3 after a Monday night performance. And this is the entire list again of games. Now there's 3 in asterisks because I really can't count them. 2008, they beat Denver 41 to 7, but then 23 to 16 was the event here. And they didn't take one, but they didn't cover. But Tom Brady didn't play because he was injured for the season that year. But we can see, like every year, it's a tradition. 18, you can see once a year there's a game. But twice there was two in 2011, two in 2009, two in 2007. And the reason for that was it used to be Sunday night or Monday night was the big game, the best game. And then Sunday was the secondary night game. And then that flip flopped. So now Sunday's the primary game, and they just get one game. This is their Monday night game of the year last week that they just played. And then there was also one example where they had their Monday night game in the final week of the season. So they didn't make the playoffs, so it didn't. Oh yeah, it didn't make the playoffs. We'll talk about that very soon. But uh, that one, of course, didn't have one. On a couple of occasions, I'm going to talk about it because even here they didn't make the playoffs this year here in 2008 because they didn't have Brady. It wasn't just because of that. They still had the most wins in their division in like a 3-way tie, but they just didn't win the division or get a wild card. I think they were 10-6 that year. And then in 2005, this was week 17, the Miami game. And I mean, how did you not take Miami plus the 7 points in that game? I mean, Tom Brady played like a series or 2. He hardly played at all. So they didn't cover. Okay. They already had a playoff spot clinched, and they were 2 and done in the playoffs that year. There was no Monday night game in 2003 because New England was like, well, New England's not that good. 2000 coming into 2003, New England's not much of a team. I mean, they won a Super Bowl once, but that was about it. Back in 2002, that was a terrible year for the Patriots. They didn't make the playoffs that year. That's only one of 2 years since Tom Brady's first start that the Patriots have not made the playoffs. Talk about a dominating team and dynasty. And that game there, of course, they didn't cover that one. So Tom Brady's first ever start. What was that? In 2000, that was when the day and ages of Drew Bledsoe. And so let's continue on. So these are the reasons in here. I know you can't read everything, but on here. But Brady lost his first ever Sunday night game after Monday night and then started 0-1. Brady then covered his next 3 situations to go to 3-1. 2009 saw 2 losses in 3 spots and now 3-3, 2 in a row. And then Brady covered the next 3 to go to 6-3. And after failing to cover in 2012, Brady has covered 5 of 6 in 3 straight. So therefore, Tom Brady's starting quarterback in games where he's not going to be pulled in a Week 17 screwed up matchup is 11-5 against the spread. He's also 11-4 in his last 15 because that's what handicappers will say. Oh, I want to make it sound as good as possible, so let's make it 11-4 in his last 15. And then really doing the 3-0, 5-1, it gives you a situation of what the entire spot is like. So I'm kind of curious to why you said that. Anyway, because I mean that's one of the things I figured out like way early. But anyway, they say so after the short week, it is possible that New England gets caught looking past Cleveland. As well today, it's matched up in Baltimore next week. Before the bye is finally anything's possible. No, not anything's possible. Pretty much damn near anything's possible. And yet you go ahead and take one of the things that's not possible. It's like so funny. It's possible Cleveland covers the spread. Yeah, I mean we're on both different sides. I got Cleveland minus 13 minus 105. You got plus 13 minus 104. We're pretty much on opposite sides. One of us will win. Maybe we both might push, but one of us will win, one of us will lose. That's just the way the game is. I don't know if you're even betting it or if you're just betting like some popcorn or a beer on it, whatever. However it may be, though, why I say not possible. Let's just read it again. It's possible that New England gets caught looking past Cleveland. Why would you think Tom Brady, Bill Belichick would do something like that? They got the momentum like they do. They got the defense kicking ass the way that they do. They're most likely going to put up a game plan. And you know what I just noticed on their interviews this year? Go back and check what he's talking about against Miami in the first game against the Jets. Oh, Miami's going to be their difficult team. They're going to difficult task. The Jets are a difficult team. Well, they're going to say that, and they also respect the opponents, whether they're shit ass team or they're damn good. And they're playing a bunch of shit ass teams, including again on Sunday. And they're going to respect the Cleveland Browns for what they are because it's like saying, oh, wonder if Phil Ivey's going to have an off day and his brain's going to malfunction and it's just going to be, well, maybe, I mean, maybe there's it's like, whatever, not very unlikely, but no, it's not possible. But they could actually, but it's still possible that Cleveland doesn't look past them and still doesn't cover. I mean, Cleveland's going to have to put up one hell of a game to cover that spread. But anyway, um, Cleveland is off a bye week, too. I have a thing on bye weeks, and I mean, there's certain people. For example, Andy Reid of Kansas City. This is one guy that does something. I mean, he just dominates after the bye week. And there's a few others that do. But generally speaking, the bottom. Look at whoever the top. Bottom 5, 10, 12 coaches in football are, and Cleveland's most certainly in the bottom 4 or 5. I mean, it's the Cleveland Browns. They've been a dysfunctional organization since I started watching football. I was a Broncos fan back in day one because I literally looked at a newspaper and I just looked at just randomly took a look at the good teams. I guess I probably would have taken. So like Denver, San Francisco were just nice. Yeah, I took Denver, and from like 1985 or whatever year it might have been, 86, up until like well, really after the Tim Tebow days. Uh, that would have been it for me as a Bronco fan. And with a small in between gap for 2 years during the end of the Shanahan era. But I saw Cleveland first within the drive and then the fumble. And then Cleveland did it again to another team. I think it was Houston. They did a joke thing. I mean, it was so bad. And then I can remember back in 2001 or 2 season. I think it was 2001. Well, it would have been 2002, the actual January year. Cleveland actually made the playoffs. They were damn good, and well, they blew a 3-score lead against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round. And then it was Peyton Hillis, and that was a big reason on the Denver loss because I was a huge Peyton Hillis fan from like day one, and day one was Denver with Mike Shanahan as head coach. And Shanahan, why? He injured. He literally injured, and he's injured up many players in his tenure or his coaching career, both Denver and Washington, where he played a player when he shouldn't have. It was like, I mean, it was just a whatever injury. But the Broncos were leading by multiple scores with like 2 minutes left in the game, and it was like, just don't play him. You've already had 4 or 5 backs got injured, and your fifth or sixth running back, fullback really at the time, has turned into be a star in his early, whatever, couple hundred touches or however many it was, or 100 and whatever many touches. He was just dominating. Anyway, that was the Cleveland ended up getting him. They traded him for Denver, and he did well. Then he got part of the Madden. He decided to go on the Madden cover. Oh my goodness, the Madden cover is such. Oh, I want to talk about that for a quick second. The Madden cover. Let me just go off to the original screen again. The Madden cover is just an interesting aspect. Is it's pretty much a curse. The game has been a curse. I was a huge Madden fan from Madden '93 up to, well, basically Peyton Hillis cover. That's the last good game was a Peyton Hillis cover game. After that, I've been. I mean, that's why I haven't. That's why I only own a PlayStation 3. And when I bought that Madden game, it was like, oh man, this is terrible. The NBA and the MLB games were the 2 games I really played. That was it. And I haven't played that in a couple years or so. But I have no need to want to buy a new video game system because I really want to play a good football game. So the best football game is to go back in time and play the old ones. But anyway, I'm talking about the covers. Every single player who has had a full entry on there, and even some have been but full entry players, meaning they had their only cover. There's about 17 of them, 16, 17 of them. There's a lot. Maybe up close to 20. Has had a major negative event happen to him, usually within the season, but if not the next season after. Stuff like Michael Vick and then what happened with the dog situation. Sean Alexander having a big bad injury. Oh, Peyton Hillis, yeah, he was on it. Then that, I mean, he finally he got Cleveland, started dominating there. Then he goes on the cover. His career's over. Patrick Sherman dominating in St. Louis. Now he's got a 2-3 year period, 2-3 year period where he's battling negative injuries after that. Oh, last year was Antonio Brown. Okay, look what happened this year. And this year, by the way, happened to be Patrick Mahomes on the cover. He's only out for 4 weeks, but I mean, if he comes back, then that's it. That's not a curse to only have a 4 week injury. But if this injury leads to something bad that causes Kansas City any realistic shot at winning the Super Bowl, then yeah, the curse will continue for yet another year. There's only been one quarterback that has ever not had anything happen, and the worst that happened to this gentleman was that he lost the Super Bowl that year, and that was Tom Brady. He's the only person to hit the cover and not have that negative effect. Okay, Leo, let's get the Cleveland offense statistics up because that'll be fun to look at. And we have Cleveland sitting at rank number 26 out of 32. Some of the teams in which the Patriots have picked on, and I mean, this is the dominating. I mean, I haven't heard anyone talk about. I always say the Bears defense from like '87 or whatever year that was has been like this time and I might one. Patriots are kind of showing that they can destroy it, but like I stated earlier, I need to see them kick ass against some dominating teams too. And I know if they don't do it in the regular season, the playoffs will force to do it because they have to win 3 games in the playoffs. So they're forced to have to play it. That's what I like about it. But anyway, you got Cleveland Browns here in 6 games. Now some of the reason they're lower is because they haven't played their 7th game. Okay, whatever. 2,107 yards, averaging 6 yards a play. It's better than these lower teams. They've turned the ball over 14 times in 6 games. You got to hang on the ball in this league. Look at these bottom end teams. They just keep turning over, with the exception of the Chicago Bears. 6 turnovers in 6 games. And so it's like, what's the over under for turnovers in this game? 2.5, 3? I don't know. It's high. It should be. What we got for passing the ball? They have passed for only 1,388 yards in 6 games, so that's barely over 200. Sick number. 5 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. We got Detroit 13-3, not bad. Atlanta 16-8, a little reckless, but 16 touchdowns in 7 games is awesome on the up end. Jacksonville hanging on the ball 11-2. We got Indianapolis 14-3, and these are the bottom end teams here. Chargers 11-6, Giants 8-9, not getting much production, but 9 isn't the worst of interceptions. You expect that from rookie Daniel Jones. Oakland not getting touchdowns, not turning it over, but I mean, Cleveland they lead the league in interceptions, and they'll probably continue to do so. It's that bad. I made a bet recently on Mayfield over interceptions. It's like he's so reckless with the ball against that type of team. It's just, how do they stand much of a chance? So mathematical probability. What's the chances they win by? What's the chances they cover a spread of pick'em? -3, -7. In this case, -13. How about -20, 27, -30? See, -40, they might only have about a 6 or 9% chance of covering, and that's sick to say you have a 9% chance to cover a 40-point spread. I'm just saying that the spread should be a lot higher than as it is. Now, what Cleveland does have going for them is the running game. There's the 5.3 yards per average that they have. So 9 touchdowns running the ball. That's the one outlier. The only thing, as I mentioned, that I'm concerned with that could come in and could make it a closer game. But even if they're effectively able to run the ball, and it's going to be harder because of again their opponent's defense matchup, and uh, Bill Belichick is just a damn good smart coach. But anyway, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to this video. And for myself, if I happen to win, it's what works out to be a three-figure size play because I, I, I gotta call it as I see it. And what I see is a defense that's dominating other football players, like that Mike Postle, who's been allegedly cheating in poker for the last couple years at the Stones poker room. That's a story that's, if you're not familiar with that, just type in poker cheat. You'd probably have lots of things come up. But this is a person who happened to see all hole cards and just put up results that shouldn't be possible. See, what New England is doing really shouldn't be possible, but it's happening. So until something is there to change the outlier for it, why should I see any different? And the matchups that are coming into town is the ones that they've had before. This whole Monday to Sunday thing means nothing. And again, when you look at bad teams off a bye week, there's a big difference with the bad ones and the really good ones. Because now they got extra week to prepare for getting their asses destroyed. That's the way I look at that as. Oh, what kind of game plan are you going to do to take out mighty Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and that dominant defense? Again, that play really has nothing to do with the New England offense. I'm not putting that statistics up at all. I'm not putting the Cleveland defensive stats up, and the Cleveland defensive stats isn't anything great at all. Anyway, let me just even see if they made the top bit. Yeah, they're mid-pack, 17th. Okay, and they even allow 5 yards per carry against the run. So Sony Michelle, I mean, Sony Michelle could match uh, on Cleveland, Chubb, play for, maybe they both get 70 yards and a touchdown. But then, how many touchdowns is New England's defense going to get? We have, but we have a team, to me, and they don't have it on here. But the defensive touchdowns, that's a stat that I don't have on here as well. That's they got their good share of them. So now, and then this is the interesting thing. Like, what's the percentage chances that New England's defense gets a touchdown? And normally on any given day for a defense, you're like, well, if it's a solid defense, maybe 15, 20%. If it's a pretty average defense, maybe 8, 9%, 11, 8, 9. And then the bottom end teams like 2, 3, 4, 5%, 6. But what's the Patriots' chances? 30, 40, 60, 67? It's sick for me to even consider saying anything over 35, 40%. But that's what they're doing. I mean, it's just sacks. I mean, they just. I don't got I didn't show any sack stats either. But if you go to other sites like covers.com, you look at the matchup, they got a bunch of. It's just a dominating affair. One touchdown, 18 interceptions. That is 3.9 over 50%. I mean, it's just crazy that those types of numbers. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day.